Hello, hello. Taking a look at today's tech headlines, I ran across this article from CNN. Emojis are increasingly coming up in court cases. Judges are struggling with how to interpret them. Yes, emojis that have been used for decades, yes, almost 30 years now, have been used to communicate nonverbal information across the internet. The earliest ones, just the plain keyboard strokes called emoticons, date back to the chat rooms of the early to mid 1990s. And now they are helping to determine the outcome of court cases across the United States. There are more than 2,823 emojis set by the Unicode Consortium, ranging from food and drink to hand gestures, activities, and facial expressions. Emojis can be especially misinterpreted when used without text, according to ABI research analyst Stephanie Tomset. For example, a face with sunglasses could be used to convey a sunny day, feeling cool, or a deal with it mentality. In 2016, a study from the University of Minnesota, participants rated popular emoji characters on Android and iOS as positive or negative. In the case of the emoji called a grinning face with smiling eyes, some people interpreted the images as blissfully happy on Android while it looked like it was ready to fight on iOS, which is Apple. Another study found about 25% of participants were unaware that the emojis they posted on Twitter could appear differently based on their followers' devices. Earlier on, we may have all thought all smiley faces were the same. Then some realized that the smiley face from Google might be interpreted differently than a smiley face from Apple, and that might make a difference in the evidence in the case. Can a knife emoji double as a threat to kill someone? Does a heart emoji from a manager constitute sexual harassment? Attorneys are having to argue for different interpretations of the small illustrated characters that are used to express emotions, activities, or objects. And courts are struggling to handle the nuances of emojis as evidence. As reported, cases in the U.S. are rising. 33 in 2017, 53 in 2018, and nearly 50 already, and we're only halfway through 2019. No court guidelines exist on how to approach the topic. Sometimes a judge might describe the emoji in question to jurors rather than allow them to see and interpret it for themselves. In some cases, emojis are omitted from evidence altogether. Eric Goldman, a Santa Clara University law professor, said. Recently, in an employee termination case, a manager sent a series of smiley face emojis. The plaintiff's lawyers claimed it was evidence the company was happy to let her go. There was a sex trafficking case in which an expert witness detailed how a series of sent emojis, including a crown, high heels, and bags of money, provided evidence of prostitution, noting that a crown often refers to a pimp. We might not think twice about a crown emoji, but in the sex trafficking world, it added context, Elliott said. If a judge said omit emoji and wasn't briefed by other parties on its meaning, that would make it impossible for any of us to audit and understand what the court did to independently consider evidence was irrelevant. Someone may use threatening symbols, a gun, a pointed finger, and then behind it put a symbol for just joking, said Karen S. Elliott of Eckert, Siemens, Charon, and Malot, a firm that has worked on cases with emojis. There's a lot that could get lost in translation. Was it a joke, or was it serious, or was the person just using the emoji to hedge so that later they could argue that it wasn't serious? Of course, emojis are commonly used to bring levity to conversations. Courts generally recognize attempts at humor, and defendants have invoked the "I was just joking" defense for centuries. According to Elliott, the courts and judges are becoming more skeptical about this defense in criminal cases because the recipient doesn't know whether it's actually a joke. I found this interesting because emojis and emoticons were really created to bring non-verbal conversation to our plain, boring text conversations. And now emojis are having to be interpreted in our court system. Just something to think about. If you found this interesting, please leave me a comment, email me, share the video, and thank you very much.